afternoon. This is Spirit Journey. Today's Friday, March 31st, 2017, and it is 3:54 p.m. I'm going to do a video regarding the murder of the picture of this man here. His name is Timothy Caughman, and he was allegedly killed by a white supremacist by the name of James Harris Jackson. I first learned of this story just a couple of days ago, maybe 3 days ago. I live in New York City, and I was walking past the area where Mr. Caughman was murdered. Mr. Caughman is a man from Queens, New York. He was 66 years old. I was on my way to the store where I saw a memorial of him. What it said was that he was killed for being black. And I wanted to find out more about what happened because I don't have a television, and I wanted to find out more about the incident. So I did write down his name, and I went shopping, but I forgot to, when I got home, I was very tired, and I forgot to look up the information. And then this morning, I was on the internet, and I saw a news headline regarding his murder. And then I said, oh, that was the same individual. And so I went to investigate further. And in short, about this whole incident, this murder, it doesn't add up to me. And I was writing some notes down about some different points of interest regarding this case. And again, my condolences for the family of Mr. Caughman and his friends. And he lived here in New York City. He lived on 36th Street, and that was around the area where he got murdered. What you see here, I looked on different websites where I found information on him. And so I'm just going to go through the different tabs that you see up above and just go through different information on it. And again, you come to your own conclusions. And I'm sorry, I'm just putting my dog down below. Okay, you're a good girl. Okay, this tab here, it just had some basic information about the victim, Mr. Timothy Caughman. He lived in a housing where people live who may have been homeless, and it's just in between housing. He lived there on 36th Street. To earn money, he picked up bottles to redeem them. So he was a man of very modest means. And this is the alleged culprit, this person here. And his name is James Harris Jackson. He's 28 years old, and he's from Baltimore. Okay, so it's many things on him over the internet. Okay, so I'm just scrolling down for you to see, so you could easily just verify yourself. Now the victim, Mr. Caughman, it is said that he was stabbed in the chest and in the back, and he was still alive according to reports. And the nearest precinct is this here on 35th Street. So I thought that was interesting. So here he's an elderly man, 66 years old, stabbed several times in the chest and back. And I'll show you what the weapon looks like. He didn't die immediately. He was stabbed around on 36th Street and 9th. And this police precinct is on 35th Street, and it's also in between 8th and 9th Avenue. So here, this is another picture of him, James Harris Jackson, and this is his lawyer. And he's being charged, as you see in this headline, charged with terrorism for Timothy Caughman's murder. So what I thought interesting here, okay, he's from Baltimore, and that as you see here, the victim was stabbed in the chest and back. It indicates again that he was murdered on March 20th. And the culprit, the alleged culprit of this murder, that he served in the U.S. military in Afghanistan. He's going to be charged with a hate crime, actually. There was something here that I saw was interesting. Okay, he was in court Monday, and the charges were upgraded. It says, here it says accused of second-degree murder, and it's considered a hate crime. Okay, there's something else here. What I thought interesting here was that he's been harboring hatred for black people for over 10 years, as it says in this paragraph here. And then this point here, it says that Mr. Jackson served in the military from 2009 to 2012. I also have to say that in the military, in the Army, there's a lot of black people. And my question is, did he have any incidences in the military between black people? Click on this tab here. Okay, this one says he's a white supremacist and that he did this to, as it says here, to deter interracial relationships. So I thought this was interesting. This is a 66-year-old man, poor, and I don't think he's on the dating scene. And Mr. Jackson, the alleged murderer, has his vendetta against black people, but he's going to target an elderly man. There was other things, but I want to just scroll through each page, things that I thought was interesting. Oh, here it says that he was interviewed while he's in jail right now. It says, in the interview, Jackson said in retrospect, he would rather have killed a young thug or a successful older black man with blondes. Now, why would they do an interview with him now when it's not even a trial yet? Doesn't add up to me. Okay, he was arraigned in Manhattan court on Thursday, this past Thursday. That was yesterday. Now, I thought interesting, why is he wearing all white, this outfit here? Is this to hold in any DNA evidence? According to police, Timothy Caughman, 66, a black man who was a can collector and autograph seeker, stumbled into a Manhattan police station Monday night with stab wounds to the chest and back. He later died from his injuries. Now, I thought that was interesting because if Mr. Jackson, the alleged murder of Mr. Caughman, now in the military, you're trained how to kill. Now, he couldn't kill on the spot an elderly 66-year-old man. Okay, in this headline here from the Daily News, that's a local New York newspaper, says here, racist James Jackson revealed deranged plan to save white women. Okay, did any white woman say to Mr. James Harris Jackson that they needed to be saved? So this man, Mr. Jackson, wants to feel that he's a savior. It says here, in an exclusive Rikers Island interview. Rikers Island is where a prison is in New York City. It's right next to the Bronx. It's a little island, and it's right off the Manhattan Island and the Bronx. Okay, that he might be offering a window into his deranged, hate-filled psyche. Okay, so he might, I guess, plea, insanity. I have a feeling about that. It says here that Mr. Jackson, that he was raised in as he says here, a typical liberal parenting, his family. So they make mention of this killing. Remember the story about Dylann Roof, a killer of these people that were in a Bible study in South Carolina? So So information about that is being linked into it. And that boasting of his white supremacy without shame. This I thought was interesting. That, okay, this man, Mr. Jackson, he's from Baltimore, Maryland, as you see here, and that he was brought up in a white neighborhood, even though he has liberal parents. So his parents didn't teach him to hate black people, anything like that. I mean, it's discussed here that he started having biased thoughts at the age of 3. Well, who at the age of 3 knows about racism? I knew nothing about racism at the age of 3, and his parents are liberal. It doesn't add up. And again, he's comparing. They say, as he grew older, he only shared his views with like-minded people online, he said. He mentioned the website Daily Stormer, which was also frequented by Roof. He's referring to Dylann Roof, the murderer of these people who were in Bible study about a year or so ago. It says here that he graduated in 2007, a Quaker school, it says here, in Baltimore. So he's raised in a, sounds like a goodly home. And look at this. It also says that in 2008, he voted for Obama. Wow. So that doesn't add up again. If he's hate-filled against black people, yet he votes for Obama, but he's calling Sarah Palin stupid. So as someone who doesn't like white women enough to vote for white women, yet he's supposed to be protecting the honor and the protection of white women. See? Doesn't add up to me. And in 2009, it says again, he joined the Army. He's part of military intelligence and analysts in Kabul. And he was discharged here, according to this article, in 2012. And he won several awards. I wonder what awards he won. And I thought it was interesting that it's military intelligence. So I wonder whether this James Harris Jackson really a part of the government and whether he's still working for the government. Here he gives a demographics of the area that the killer lived in Baltimore. Hampton, a northern Baltimore neighborhood that's 78% white in a city that is 70% non-white. He took a trip from Baltimore to New York. It's weird. Well, okay, it says here, sources said he stalked one black man last Monday but got spooked and turned his attention to Caughman, the bottle collector. Now, so this poor victim, Timothy Caughman, says here that he died at Bellevue Hospital. And this is the memorial, the one that I saw. Now look at this. This is the alleged weapon. Now the blade alone is 18 inches. The total length is about, 28 inches? No, 26 inches, the whole knife. See the 26? Now he's going to carry this in the city. You don't really see any blood, anything like that. It looks pretty clean. But yet this is supposed to be a weapon that was used, punctured Mr. Caughman several times in the back and in the chest. According to this interview, now he's being interviewed while in prison, Mr. Jackson, that he didn't know that the prison population there, as it says here, 55% black, and the staff there is 65%. Okay? Since I didn't expect so many would be black, he said. Wow. This man, James Harris Jackson, supposed to have worked for the intelligence. He didn't do his homework and investigate. He didn't sound like he really did any planning. And why would he leave Baltimore to go to New York? In one page here, it did mention something that, well, New York City is the news capital of the world. I'll try to find that also. Jackson had one last piece of advice for a news reporter: have children. Good white women should have as many children as possible, he said, defining good as smart, sane women. It sounds like he doesn't think highly of white women. And his solution for how those women support themselves was to go on welfare. Okay, he came to New York, according to this, because he wanted maximum exposure for his crime, telling investigators he rode 200 miles on a bus from Baltimore because New York is the media capital of the world. He looks very pristine, everything in place. Look at his hair. He looks like a man who really cares about his physical appearance. He looks very well groomed. Every hair is in place after murdering somebody. Okay, the Port Authority, I have to add, the Port Authority is on 40th Street between 8th and 9th Avenue. Okay, the murder took place on 36th and 9th Avenue. Is a former Army intelligence person. Wouldn't you go in a black area to kill as many black people as possible? But he doesn't. He doesn't really venture far from the Port Authority. He stayed in a hotel that was in the local area, right nearby. These are my concerns. Why I'm doing this video, what really had me thinking why it's a little suspect, this whole incident, when I saw that his funeral tomorrow, April Fool's Day, I said, oh, wait a minute. I don't know. I also mentioned here in my notes, there's no blood on the knife. It looks pretty pristine. You don't see any blood or any evidence of crime on this guy. Former military, an intelligence person, and I remember there was a video. I have to try to find that. I almost forgot. There's a video of him running from the scene of the crime. Let me see if I can find that. Okay. Look at that. Now, does this look like a Hollywood movie? He just murdered somebody, but he looks like a James Bond wearing a nice outfit. Okay, let me see. Let me play that again. Well, one thing I could say is that he turns himself in. He saw himself in the media. They got him on camera. Okay.
New York City, admitted white supremacist, has been charged with murder and death of a random. Prosecutors now say he told police that attack was only the beginning. ABC's Gio Benitez with the latest.
Tonight, disturbing new allegations about the 28-year-old Army vet police say was caught on video moments after stabbing and killing 66-year-old Timothy Caughman on Monday night. James Jackson facing a judge today, looking angry as prosecutors called the murder a hate crime, most likely an act of terrorism, adding that Jackson considered this murder practice before going to Times Square to kill additional black men.
It's well over 10 years that he has been harboring these feelings of hate towards male blacks.
Police say Jackson traveled from Baltimore to New York, that he had stalked numerous potential victims and was angered by black men mixing with white women. Jackson turned himself in, admitting he's a white supremacist, police say, telling them where to find the 26-inch sword used to kill Caughman. New York's governor tweeting he's asked authorities to investigate whether this senseless murder is part of a larger pattern. Jackson's attorney hinting at an insanity defense.
Okay.
If the facts are anything near what the allegations are, then we're going to address the obvious psychological issues that are present in this case.
And Tom, tonight Jackson is charged with murder as a hate crime. He's pleaded not guilty, but prosecutors tell us they're expecting to file even more charges. Tom.
Okay. Now, Does that all make sense to you? So it seemed like he wants to get caught and that he did this on a practice run. So he's going to practice on a 66-year-old. How was he going to kill? Go to Times Square with that long 20-something inch knife in Times Square? At nighttime, it's a lot of young people there, and they're probably tackled. There's a lot of police there. We've gotten far. So I just find this whole story hard to swallow. Does this really make sense to you? There were no rallies or anything like that, protesters. I didn't hear of anything like that happening. What I think interesting about this whole story is that the media wants to play up the dichotomy, the black and white dichotomy. And one thing about blacks in this country, our numbers are dropping. The number of blacks in the United States is dropping, at least the percentage in New York. American blacks, non-Hispanics, are moving back down south. That is the trend. We're no longer the largest minority group in the United States, so our numbers are decreasing, and so we should be less of a threat. We're not buying up the property in the United States. You have other ethnic groups that are coming into the U.S. with money and who are starting businesses, and that the property that some of these new immigrants are buying up, they may not necessarily live in these properties. The initial value of these properties go up, as I mentioned in a past recent video. So whites have, their properties are increasing in value, but what's happening, the people who are buying up these properties, they're not moving into these properties, but it's like dormant. And the properties is not being kept up. And this is angering some white people. We don't have the largest net income in this country. We're not in the top jobs. And in New York City, in the area where you saw where this James Harris Jackson, it's a poor area where blacks are. You find a lot of homeless blacks that live there, and it's really a bad state. So I don't know what he's talking about, a threat. So with all that, what is realistic? We're not an economic threat to white people, and a 66-year-old black man who's living in a place for former homeless people, it's not a threat. And I found it very telling that here, after being stabbed numerous times, he doesn't die there at the scene, and then he's able to walk a couple of blocks to the police precinct, and then later dies at Bellevue Hospital. It's just a little hard for me to swallow. You have a healthy, strong murderer who's former military, and he can't kill someone right away. I believe that all this is a distracted. They want you to look at this dichotomy, this black and white dichotomy, and to get black and white people killing each other, hating each other more. Yet, blacks in general in North America are not a threat to white men's prosperity here in the country. We are not it. Our numbers, our percentages, what we make, our net income is not a threat. But you have other groups who are growing in number, who are economically at an advantage, who are going to top schools. When I went to college, there weren't a lot of black people in college. So what's the threat? So again, I think it's a distracted for you to look here while what's really going on in the country is being hidden from you. And when that serpent strikes up and attacks America, you're going to say, what happened? I think this is all staged. The reality of the data, the information that I show you, it's illogical. So that's all that I have to say, but my report is that it's problematic. So feel free to comment below on this video, share this video with friends, family members. You can subscribe to Spirit Journey and to give me a thumbs up. Take care, guys, and stay calm and don't believe